بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين والصفوة الخيرة من أصحابه المنتجبين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تحرموا طيبات ما أحل الله لكم ولا تعتدوا إن الله لا يحب المعتدين. O who you believe, do not forbid the lawful things, the good things that God has made lawful unto you, and do not transgress. Surely God loves not transgressors. My friends, this is part 3 of our discussion on the timed marriage. For many years I tried to avoid discussing this marriage, not to give the false perception that we are promoting it, especially among the young generation. But then when we did not discuss it, it created more controversy, more confusion in the minds of many. Many people thought that this is unlawful because the scholars of Ahlul Bayt do not even mention it, do not defend it, do not speak about it in public. So it must be wrong then. It must be unlawful. So when it gave the wrong perception, then I found it necessary that we must speak about it. We must speak about this subject in terms of the legality, whether it is permissible or not permissible, whether it was prohibited by the Prophet or not by someone else, and that someone else is Umar, and whether he has right to do so or not. So it is important to know what is halal and what is haram. It is important to understand religion and the injunctions of religion away from arrogance, away from bigotry, away from bias, away from being in a bad-tempered mood, and to study Islam through the Qur'an, the primary source of legislation, this book, and the authentic Sunnah of the Prophet. Through the channel of Ahlul Bayt, the closest people to the Prophet. Someone like Imam Ali and his children, they never disbelieved in God. While others, the caliphs accepted Islam at the age of 40. It means 2/3 of their life they lived in shirk and polytheism. And now here, go to any school, any university, any company, any corporation, and ask about this, the rule of superiority, seniority. Those who are seniors, they are respected more. Those who just joined a few months ago or a few years ago, they are not as important as those who are seniors, who spend 3 decades, 4 decades of their life dedicated to this cause, to this corporation, to this school, to this university, to this college. There is a difference. And God speaks about the difference in His book. وَالسَّابِقُونَ, God says, مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ. السَّابِقُونَ. Sabiqun, those forerunners who came first, who dedicated their life, who gave first, who sacrificed first. لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل أولئك أعظم درجة من الذين أنفقوا من بعد وقاتلوا وكلا وعد الله الحسنى. Both are good, but they are not equal. Those who came first, the pioneers, the first runners, the forerunners, they are not equal with those who came later. They are not equal. Ahl al-Bayt are not compared to anyone, my friends. There is no way we can compare the Prophet and his family, his progeny, the purified. God speaks about their purity in 33:33. Surah Al-Ahzab, chapter 33, verse 33. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمْ رِجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. We cannot compare them to others who came later, who accepted Islam at the age of 40 or 45, with someone who accepted Islam at the age of 10. Imam Ali alayhi salam, according to all books of tafsir and history, was with the Prophet like a shadow. Never disbelieved in God. Never bowed down to an idol. لم يسجد لصنم قط. You would not compare him to someone who came after 40 years. And some of them came reluctant, my friend. And some of them persecuted the early Muslims. In case of Umar ibn al-Khattab, Umar ibn al-Khattab was chasing the early Muslims, persecuting them. His story is similar to the story of Saint Paul in Christianity, who was persecuting the believers, the early monotheists, the early followers of Jesus. He was persecuting them. He was torturing them. And then he decided to convert. It's not different. Yes, God is forgiving. God would forgive. Even if it is one day of your life, one day is left, God would forgive. But God would not put you in the same degree with someone who spent 60 or 70 years of his life working for God, never disobeying God, never committing a sin. They are not equal. They are not equal. There is a strict system of justice in Islam. This is why in paradise we have different grades, different levels, different floors. They are not all in one floor. Darajatul Jannah, check it out. It's in the Qur'an. نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ مَنْ نَشَاءُ. God says even the prophets are not in the same floor. They don't live in the same floor in paradise. تلك الرسل فضلنا بعضهم على بعض. God says those are the messengers, my prophets. Some of them are above the others, favored above the others, because they worked harder, they sacrificed more, they gave more. Their jurisdiction was bigger. Their history was more glorious than others. Cannot put them in one wagon and say radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. All of them are equal. This is naive, my friends. Wake up, wake up. This is naive. A good Muslim should be smart and intelligent. Don't mix. This is not a mixed salad. Mixed salad is good, but some items has more nutrition than others. And you have to admit to that. Not all of them are equal. And therefore God says, as I read in chapter 5, Surah Al-Ma'idah, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تحرموا طيبات ما أحل الله لكم. O who you believe, O who you trust God, O who you seek salvation tomorrow in the day of judgment, do not forbid what God has made lawful and permissible for you. The good things that He made, be it food, be it marriage, be it any act. It could be any act. When God says this is okay, don't come after that and teach God. لا تقدموا بين يدي الله ورسوله. Don't give your opinion before God and His Prophet. God is the teacher, the Prophet is the teacher. Umar has no right to come and say this is good or this is bad. This is lawful or this is unlawful. Neither Umar nor anyone else. When the Prophet made it clear and the Qur'an made it clear, we cannot come and play with the rules according to our taste. Because I don't like this, then it is haram. Because I like this, then it is halal. That should not be the case. God says in the Qur'an, submit. Submit to God and His Prophet. In Surah Al-Ahzab, وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. Period. Very clear. No believer man or women, when God and the Prophet decree an injunction, an order, a command, they cannot have the choice to change it. No believer men and women have the right to change it after God has decreed through His Prophet. And God has decreed through His Prophet that temporary marriage, timed marriage, mut'a marriage, if you want to call it, here in chapter 4, verse 24, is legal, permissible. فَمَا اسْتَمْتَعْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْهُنَّ فَآتُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً. You may go back to the first session and second session, first part and second part. We spoke about this extensively. Nobody can come after that and change it, because his desire, his opinion, his philosophy is different. Religion is not open for tampering, my friends. Today, when you board an airplane in the United States of America or Canada or Europe, you hear this announcement in the beginning. Before they take off, they tell you, do not tamper with anything in the airplane. If you want to smoke, and some people go to the bathroom to smoke, they think they can tamper with these devices to disable them, they are committing a federal offense, a felony. You can't tamper with God's religion, with God's law, with God's sharia. The other thing, my friends, before we continue on this fiqhi, juristic question, is that nowadays some people argue that it's not good for our time. Who said so? It's not good. Temporary marriage is not good for our time. Maybe it's not good for you, for your son, for your daughter. Maybe they're going to mess up. Maybe you have not taught them the value of these things. It's just like the permanent marriage. Some people mess up with their permanent marriage. Some people take advantage of it. Some women as well as some men. They misbehave. They are not qualified neither for temporary nor for permanent marriage, because they don't appreciate the value of the family or the value of the other human being. The timed marriage is a contract between two people who are independent, who are mature, who are believers in God, who are willing to commit themselves into respecting each other and live with each other for some period of time. It could be for any purpose. It could be for sexual gratification. It could be only to help each other. It could be only to support each other. It could only to work with each other during a trip. But of course it has shurut and conditions, and it has to be respected. And if it is not respected, this is not God's problem. This is your problem, your daughter's problem, your son's problem. They violate these rules. If they don't violate them, temporary marriage is one of the best solutions for today's humanity's sexual problems. The best solution. Many of your children boys and girls who are born and raised in America, they refuse to marry at the age of 20 or 22 or 25 or even 30, some of them. Tell me, what would a person who is born and raised in America or Europe or Canada and goes to school and mingles with the opposite sex and opposite gender, whether it's a school, whether it's work, whether it's the beach, whether it's the sports center, wherever it is, surrounded by the opposite gender. What would you tell your son and daughter? You tell them, don't look? Is this a practical solution? Even if you tell them don't look, would they would they respect your request, or they make fun of you? This book, the Qur'an, 1400 years, Surah An-Nur says to men, وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ, cast down. But who respected this book? Nobody. Even the companions of the Prophet, when they see a beautiful lady in Mecca, in Medina, they see a beautiful lady, they want to marry her. They propose to her. Some women propose to men. A lady comes to the mosque of the Prophet, she proposes publicly to the Prophet, in public. She tells him, I want to marry you. So it happens, my friend. It happens. They are a human being. I don't blame them. And if it is for the purpose of marriage, it's okay. Not for fornication, not for adultery, not for homosexuality, it's okay. It's okay. And it's up to the people to decide what type of marriage they want to lead. It's up to them. Sometimes permanent works for them, which is very good. Establishing a family, committing yourself, this is the ideal marriage. Definitely, no doubt about it. Stay with one partner for 50 years, for 70 years, not 70 years, inshallah, into the next life too. Why not? If both of you are righteous. If both of you don't get bored of each other. Stay into the next one. Continue your journey into the next life. But for some people that does not work. That model doesn't work. So what would they do for 30 years or 25 years of their life? Or for 50 years of their life? They abstain, they don't see, they don't leave the house. Tabattul, they don't get married. Is this a solution? Can you resist? Can you resist your urge? If you resist, I would admire you. I would follow you. If you have this power of resistance, I would follow you. You need a partner in your life. And if you can't afford the permanent marriage, which again I say it is the solution, it is the right thing to do, then there is another solution, which is the temporary one. And the temporary one does not mean 1 or 2 nights. Don't let your mind goes to these areas, because this is Al-Kafi. Al-Kafi says, if you want to marry someone who's afifa. Afifa, not a prostitute. أنه لا يجوز التمتع إلا بالعفيفة. This is the book of Kafi. This is the book of Ahlul Bayt, the hadiths of Ahlul Bayt, the instructions of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, that even if you want to marry someone on a temporary basis, or you as a female, you want to marry someone male on a temporary basis, marry someone who is chaste, who is religious, who is ethical, who has morality, who has piety. Not someone who's cheap. Marry someone that you can trust. Marry someone who fears God. Marry someone who observes the Islamic ruling. عن أبي جعفر Imam al-Baqir أنه سئل عن المتعة. Someone asked him about temporary marriage. What do you think? فقال إن المتعة اليوم ليس كما كانت قبل اليوم. See, Imam al-Baqir, who lived only a few years after the Prophet, he said, Mut'ah today is not like Mut'ah yesterday. It's different. إنهن كن يومئذ يؤمن واليوم يؤمن واليوم لا يؤمن فاسألوا عنهن. In the past, he says, during the old good days, imagine this is Imam al-Baqir 1300 years ago. Says in the old good days, you could trust women. Today, you cannot trust them. So search for someone that you can trust. Don't go to a prostitute. Don't go to someone bad who's transferred from one person into another. Don't go to that one. فلا تتزوج إلا عفيفة فقال لي سألت أبا عبد الله. His son Imam al-Sadiq says سئل عنها يعني المتعة فقال لي حلال فلا تتزوج إلا عفيفة. Marry someone that you can trust. So it's not the marketing, as some people say, marketing of promotion of fornication. It's not. Or indecency. It's not about that. It has rules. It's upon the book of God, the Sunnah of the Prophet. You have to have commitment. You have to observe these rules. The lady cannot be married to someone else, neither during her waiting period. You have to wait. And you have to have tafahum, understanding with her, mutual understanding. And you have to respect her. And if she asks for provision, nafaqah, then you are committed to that. You must pay her. You must pay her. Maybe she asks certain amount of money per month. This is beside her bride wealth. This is beside her mahar and dowry. If she says, I want $1,000 a month, and if you agree, then you have to honor it. And if she says you have to buy me a house, in her contract, you have to buy her a house. If she says there should be inheritance between us, then you must honor her request. If she says, I want to live with you in the same house, you must do this. You must do this. You must honor it. Whatever conditions they put, they have to honor it. So it is some type of almost permanent marriage, permanent commitment. And I have seen some people live with their partners for a period of 20 years, 30 years, 40 years sometimes, but on a temporary basis. Now, why? Go and ask them why. This is their choice. We cannot interfere in people's choice. Life is different, and people are different now. So let's abide by the Quranic rules. Now, among the scholars in the Sunni tradition who agreed with the temporary marriage is Imam Malik ibn Anas. Because Shaykh al-Islam al-Marghiyani, in his book Al-Hidayah fi Sharh al-Bidayah, نسب القول بجواز المتعة إلى مالك مستدلا عليه بقوله لأن نكاح المتعة كان مباحا فيبقى إلى أن يظهر ناسخه. The opinion of Imam Malik is that it was mubah, permissible. Then if we have doubt about being cancelled or abrogated, then we keep it as it is. It means it is permissible too. And Ibn Kathir, I think in the first part of this series, I mentioned the book of Ibn Kathir, which I have behind me, Tafsir Ibn Kathir, Ad-Dimashqi. He attributes this opinion to Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. His book is here, Musnad al-Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, that if there is dharura, a necessity, then it is permissible. الضرورات تقدر بقدرها. Necessity is based on you, your circumstances. Sometimes it is necessary for this person, but it is not necessary for another person. As we saw earlier, someone comes to Imam al-Sadiq and he says, I want to get married on a temporary basis, mut'ah. Imam said, this is not for you, because you have enough. So why do you want to get involved in this? It's not for you. It's not necessary for you. but it could be necessary for others, my friends. Circumstances are different, people are different, countries are different, societies are different. It's not all one. It's not all one. Now, some people say, but it has been abrogated by Surah Al-Talaq. يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن. Or who you believe, or the Prophet, if you divorce women, then you have to divorce them and they have to observe waiting period. And since the waiting period of the temporary marriage is not equal with the one which is permanent, then this is not considered marriage. How come it's not considered marriage? And who said that the waiting periods have to be the same? Because we have in the Qur'an, in this book, in our Qur'an, two types of waiting periods. They are not the same. One of them, in case of normal divorce, the waiting period is 3 months, almost 3 months, 3 menstrual cycles. And then there is another waiting period when the husband dies, then it is 4 months, 4 أشهر وعشرة, and 10 days. So it's not equal. It's a marriage, but one of them ends in divorce, one of them ends in death. In divorce, the waiting period after that for the wife is 3 months. In death, if it ends in death, the waiting period is 4 months and 10 days for the wife. And when it comes to temporary marriage, the waiting period either 2 menstrual cycles, if she sees blood. If she doesn't during her menopause, then it is 45 days. And it is very strange that someone like Rashid Rida, as I mentioned earlier, he says that the Shias believe that there is no waiting period for the one who marries temporary. '56. Let me show you. In fact, these are the books of Shia. And it says that it is haydatan, the waiting period. And sometimes it says 1 month and 15 days. عدة المتمتعة 45 يوما والاحتياط 45 ليلة. Others have another arguments, which we come to it inshallah, and we might conclude in the 4th session. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.